The board will now come to order. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Schweitzer. Alderman Oldenburg. Alderman Cone.
Present.
Alderman Narayan.
Here.
Alderman Devote.
Present.
Alderwoman Velasquez. Alderwoman Sanier. Alderwoman Cox-Antwi. Alderman Browning.
Present.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard.
Here.
Alderwoman Keys. Alderwoman Tyus. Alderwoman Boyd.
Present.
Alderman Aldred. President Green.
Present.
Alderman Oldenburg.
Present.
Alderwoman Velasquez. Alderwoman Tyus. 13 present. We have quorum.
A quorum being present will be led in an opening reflection by our very own Executive Secretary, Lamisha Bird, singing the Black National Anthem.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmony of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening sky. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us, facing the rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. God of our weary years, God of our silent dreams, has brought us thus far on our way. Thou who hast by thy might laid us into the light, keep us forever in the path. We pray, lest our feet stray from the places of God where we met thee. Lest our hearts, drunk with the mind of the world, we forget thee. Shadow beneath thy hand, may we forever stand true to our
Wasn't that amazing? We will dispense with the regular order of business now to take up the courtesy resolution calendar. Alderwoman from the 10th, you are recognized on the motion and the rules for the purposes of introducing resolutions 255 and 256.
Thank you, Madam President. Members of the board, I move that we suspend the rules for the purposes of introducing resolutions 255 and 256.
It's been moved by the Alderwoman from the 10th, seconded by the Alderwoman from the 7th, that we suspend the rules for the purposes of introducing resolutions 255 and 256. This is a non-debatable motion. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Schweitzer. Aye. Alderman Oldenburg.
Aye.
Alderman Cone.
Aye.
Alderman Narayan.
Aye.
Alderman Devoti.
Aye.
Alderwoman Velasquez. Alderwoman Sanye. Alderwoman Cox-Antwi. Alderman Browning.
Aye.
Alderwoman Clark-Hubbard.
Aye.
Alderwoman Keys. Alderwoman Tyus. Alderwoman Boyd.
Aye.
Alderman Aldrich. President Green.
Aye.
Alderwoman Velasquez. 14 aye votes.
By your vote, you sustain the motion from the Alderwoman from the 10th. If we could now, if you could please place those at the end of the courtesy resolution calendar, and I would invite the Alderwoman from the 11th, elevated 11th, to approach the dais with her special guest for the presentation of resolution 251 and 252.
Good morning. I'm going to go ahead and take this off the stand. Good morning, and this truly is a great morning. I didn't realize we had so many wonderful voices here in the Board of Aldermen. I think we're going to have to get a choir going. So, but as this is our last meeting as we close out Black History Month, and I thought about, how am I going to dress today? Of course, I couldn't find any clothes. My clothes are in bins because of the tornado. But fortunately, God is good. And so I was able to find or put together an outfit, and I thought about, hair is also a part of our culture. And so while I could not take down my braids to do my hair like this, which I've done on occasion, I had a good piece of hair sitting to the side that I could grab and put on this morning to celebrate the culture and the fashion and the hair of my people. So all power to the people, always. All right. Thank you. I'd like to extend a thank you to President Green because the incident that I'm going to tell you about occurred so recent that I was not able to meet the deadline for getting these resolutions done, but I appreciate your courtesy in allowing us to do this because this too is important. So on February the 18th, Miss D, step up, Miss D, come on, stand next to me. So Miss D, this lady has been catching fish, a fisherwoman in the elevated 11th Ward. She had been fishing for years at the various park lakes when they're stocked, cooking the fish and feeding the people. And on February the 18th, it was the 18th? Okay. So, on the 11th? Okay. So anyway, as she was there catching fish, her foot slipped and she slid into the lake at O'Fallon Park. And I'm going to let her tell the rest of her story. So we'll leave it right there.
On February the 11th, it started out as just a simple fishing trip, and it ended up almost a tragic. But God has a reason and a purpose for placing certain people in certain places. And he did just that day as I slipped and fell into the lake. And the waves started to take me away, and I was going under. But thank God, Mr. Leon Roberts and Sean Nolly was also there fishing, among other people, but these two demonstrated the most heroic act of my life. And one of them, he dived in, and I think I heard somebody say, well, he said he can't swim, but he dived in anyway and risked his life to pull me out. We tried to stand up, but there was no bottom. We couldn't feel a bottom. So he began to paddle back in, and the waves, there is a God, because when he paddled back in, the same waves that was taking me out began to make a detour and kind of bring me back in. Hallelujah. Nobody but God was with me. And Mr. Leon extended his hand to me and told me to hold on. I tried to grab his hand, but I couldn't. So I told him to let me go. Just let me go. I had accepted my faith, but he said, not today. And so as I began to float back a little bit to the bank, they both reached in and grabbed me and pulled me to shore. And that's why I am here today, to thank them, because my words is not gratitude enough. And I like to thank the both of you guys. Thank you. Thank you, Alderman Keys, for reaching out to me and inviting us here. It means so much to be able to share this story with each and every one of you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Dean. So these two gentlemen, step up, gentlemen, please. Join me on each side. Amen. So when I actually saw this on Facebook, nobody called me. I saw it on Facebook, and I said, oh, my God. And so I immediately began to search through until I found these gentlemen just probably an hour after I saw the video. And I was just so moved that these are men in our community that stepped up without being asked. These are heroes. And they didn't really want any recognition, but I refused, because you deserve to be recognized on this day. So I'm going to pass the mic, and these gentlemen will give you their quick version of what occurred that day.
Good morning. Well, it was just a day of us out fishing, and we didn't seen Miss D out there fishing before. And me not being a good swimmer, so I told my brother, once she fell in, I'm like, you got to go in. Even though the lake was just froze probably 3-4 days ago, I told him, you just got to go in. And he dove in. When he dove in, I slid down in the water and grabbed her on her arm and by her pants and pulled her out. At that moment, I just wanted to do something. I prayed that somebody do the same thing for my mother.
I'm proud of you, sir. Very proud of you. You was there to help. But on another note, it was just a good day that we was there, able to help her out. And you know what I'm saying? So hope she can overcome her fears of fishing and be able to get back out there. That's it. That's all. I'm just glad that we was there.
So one little tidbit that I want to share with you. These men are brothers. They don't share the same mother or father. And when I talked to each of them, they referred to, well, my brother, he went in, and then the other referred to my brother, he did so-and-so. So these men have been lifelong friends. Their mothers claim each of them as her children. That is an amazing bond. And I was so glad because they unraveled it for me. And I was like, huh? Because one of them said, well, his mother. And I was like, what you mean? Ain't y'all got the same mother? So that's when they really explained it to me. And to have that closeness, and you guys are a team, you work together to save a life. And that's such an amazing thing. And I'm just so proud of you. And thank you for being here today.
Any further discussion? Alderwoman from the 10th.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you, members of the board. Thank you for sharing this story today. Thank you here clearly for just being you and your words. That's it, that's all. And we need to elevate and escalate the action the way you all did on the ground on a day when it was just fishing for you. But in your heart and your mind, it told you immediately, I want somebody to do this for my mama. Thank you. And with that, I would ask that we move this resolution in bank.
It's been moved by the Alderwoman from the 10th, seconded by the Alderwoman from the 6th, that we make both resolutions 51 and 252 in bank. Is there any discussion on the motion to in bank? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Alderwoman from the 12th.
Madam President, members of the board, and Madam Alderwoman from the 11th, thank you for bringing this resolution. I want to say to the gentleman, what an honor it is for you to be here today. I am so proud. This is what heroism looks like. This is a everyday citizen doing what they're supposed to. The love that you had for each other, you extended to this woman. It may have meant her life. I hope that we can all pray that she gets over this horrific event, because sometimes events can happen in your life that scar you. If you like to fish, continue to fish, because God has shown you that he got you. And he has you in a way that you didn't expect, because two strangers helped save your life. They are heroes, and so are you. Get back out there, live your full life, and thank all of you all for being here today. I'm very proud to be here today, to see you and hear you, and I appreciate you. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Well, just to let you know, since it's been embanked, that means that every single member of the Board of Aldermen signed on to the resolution as co-sponsors. So we all want to thank you for your leadership. My heart breaks for you, but is also so happy at the outcome. It could have been so much worse. And knowing that we have two gentlemen in our community who just saw a need and ran for it and kind of put their own lives on the line in the process. I think that really speaks to the testament of what community is about, what being a good neighbor is about. And so thank you for your service and your leadership. And we're really happy to celebrate you at the board today. Thank you. All right, if we could all gather on the steps here for a picture.
We're going to go down to the stairs. We're going to get a lovely picture of our three of you.
Don't forget your glasses. Your glasses? Yeah, okay. Don't forget your glasses.
base.
For last week's meeting, I was like, yeah, I'm not staying in for.
I should have had facilities.
Alderwoman from the 10th, you are recognized on the motion to adopt the courtesy resolution consent calendar.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. I move that we adopt the courtesy resolution consent calendar.
It's been moved by the Alderwoman from the 10th, seconded by the Alderwoman from the 1st, that we adopt the courtesy resolution consent calendar. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Introduction of honored guests. Any introduction of honored guests? Alderwoman from the 10th.
Thank you, Madam President. Before I do my introduction of my honored guests that are in the galley, I'm asking for a moment of silence for the Honorable Reverend Dr. Lewis T. Shelton of Union Tabernacle Missionary Church, of which his family, his church family, and greater community are in the celebration of his life as we speak. We thank him for the decades of service and upliftment in the community, the example he set, praying for the family, and again, his church family and community, and asking for a moment of silence for Reverend Dr. Lewis T. Shelton.
We could all please stand and bow our heads for a moment of silence.
Thank you. And then my honor guests up in the galley are the Wash U Bears Caucus for Student Advocacy Day. If you all could stand, they are accompanied by Assistant Vice Chancellor of Local Government and Community Relations for Wash U, Ms. Joanna Schooler, and Assistant Vice Chancellor of Advocacy and Engagement for Wash U, Tony Rice. Thank you all for being here this morning. I look forward to talking with you all later.
Alderwoman from the 11th.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. For 33 years, the North Newstead Association has served proudly in the 21st Ward and in the elevated 11th Ward, serving community in so many ways. They're too numerous really to count. And we've seen directors come and go. And so it is sad that I announced today that Constance Stu, this is her last day. I received an email this morning, and I want to publicly thank her for all of her hard work. I always used to tell her, I said, girl, you stepped up the game. They came in with great strategies to deal with different issues in community. They've been a great partner to me. And so I just want to make sure that she knows how much she is appreciated, not only in the elevated 11th Ward, but throughout our city. Thank you.
Alderman from the 9th.
Thank you. I'd like to have as my guest today the students from Rosati Kane. They are up here in the gallery if you all want to wave. All those wonderful students. And also to recognize Barb Geisman, they're, according to my colleague here, legendary teacher, who is just, all of them are a wonderful presence in our city, and we really love having just the so many great schools that we have in our city. So we know that they will represent us well, and welcome.
Alderman from the 14th.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. First, before my introduction of honor guests, I would ask the board if we could have a moment of silence. This week, we lost a legend in the activist community. We lost somebody who has done a lot of great work here for St. Louis. I know when I was first getting involved with Missouri Jobs for Justice, she was one of those individuals that always supported and mentored the young people. Joan Torres passed away this week, and it's going to be a big hit, like I say, to this region. So I would just ask if we could have a moment of silence for Joan Torres and her family.
If everyone could please stand and bow your heads for a moment of silence.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board, for that moment of silence. As my introduction of honor guests, as we wrap up Black History Month, knowing that Black history is actually 365 days, it's all year round. However, you know, a lot of time we pay attention and we recognize so many greats that came before us: Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, Harriet Tubman, Barack Obama, Kamala Harris. But I also want to have as my honor guest so many St. Louis Black history historians, from Percy Green to Jamala Rogers to, I want to thank the Alderman from the 3rd for reminding me today, it's her birthday, Vivian Gibson, one of the last children of Mill Creek, and so many other great, Bernie Hayes. I mean, the list goes on and on and on of Black people that we have here in St. Louis that have been game changers. And today, hopefully, we'll be making even more history by maybe hiring the very first Black female chief clerk of this Board of Aldermen. Well, so as we remember what Black history is, again, I want all of us, especially the young folks up in the gallery, to remember that Black history isn't the past. It's the past, it's the present, and today, I mean, it'll continue to be the future, but today, this Board of Aldermen is going to make a huge accomplishment and continuing to make sure that Black history is being represented in the future at this Board of Aldermen, but throughout St. Louis. Happy Black History Month, everyone.
Any further introduction of honored guests? Any further introduction of honored guests? Alderwoman from the 13th.
Thank you, Madam President and Board. I wanted to have my honored guests, plumbers and pipe fitters. They had a Black History Month event yesterday that was phenomenal. I mean, phenomenal. And so I want to congratulate them on lifting up and recognizing Black history. And then Ms. Ollie Stewart for her Black History program that she sponsored on Thursday. So we have some great programs that were out there, and I just want to congratulate them, and they're my honored guests for today.
Alderwoman from the 12th.
Madam President, members of the board, and I don't know if we did this because I was absent a few times after my surgery, but recently we lost my very first secretary, Miss Sarah Gleason, passed away. And if we did not do a moment of silence in my absence, I would like to have a moment of silence. Miss Sarah Gleason was here when I got here in 1991. She stayed for a lot of years. She was my first secretary. When I left and came back, she was my secretary again. She's a great person, always willing to help. We lost a great person. And if we have not done a moment of silence for a longtime board employee, I'd like a moment of silence for Ms. Sarah Gleason, who was the secretary for, 20 odd years or so.
We could please stand and bow our heads for a moment of silence. A further introduction of honored guests. I would like us to ask, I know we've done a number of moments of silence today. I want to ask us to do just one more. We had another giant pass this week. Former Alderman Kenny Jones passed last Sunday. Lots of us know him from his work in the labor movement and work in the community for years and years and years. And he's definitely been somebody to me that's been a sounding board and a mentor over the years. And so I was very sad to learn of his passing. So please stand and do one more moment of silence for former Alderman Kenny. A further introduction of honored guests. Seeing none, Alderwoman from the 10th, you're recognized on the approval of the minutes from Friday, February 20th, 2026.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. I move that we approve the minutes from Friday, February 20th, 2026.
It's been moved by the Alderwoman from the 10th, seconded by the Alderwoman from the 7th, that we approve the minutes from Friday, February 20th, 2026. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Report of city officials.
Report of city officials can be found in A, B, C, and D of the agenda and has been placed in the Google Drive for your review. Dear members of the board, I have the pleasure to submit the following individuals for appointment to the Waterman Lake Special Business District. The appointment of Alan Bathan, the reappointment of Peter Tarby, the reappointment of Glenn Gibb. I respectfully request your approval of this appointment. Sincerely, Kara Spencer, Mayor.
Aldermen from the 9th, you're recognized on Mayor Spencer's appointments to the Waterman Lake Special Business District.
Thank you. I move that we accept the mayor's appointments of Alan Bathon and the reappointments of Peter Tarby and Glenn Gibb to the Waterman Lake Special Business District.
It's been moved by the Alderman from the 9th, seconded by the Alderman from the 14th, that we approve Mayor Spencer's appointments to the Waterman Lake Special Business District. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Dear members of the board, I have the pleasure to submit the following individual for appointment to the Washington Place Business District. The appointment of Jason Johnson. I respectfully request your approval of this appointment. Sincerely, Kara Spencer, Mayor.
Alderman from the 9th, you're recognized on Mayor Spencer's appointments to the Washington Place Special Business District.
Thank you. I move that we accept the mayor's appointment of Jason Johnson to the Washington Place Special Business District.
Second. It's been moved by the Alderman from the 9th, seconded by the Alderman from the 14th, that we approve Mayor Spencer's appointments to the Washington Place Special Business District. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Dear members of the board, I have the pleasure to submit the following individual for reappointment to the Developer Place Special Business District. The reappointment of Stephanie Brown. I respectfully request your approval of these appointments. Sincerely, Kara Spencer, Mayor.
Alderwoman from the 10th, you're recognized on Mayor Spencer's appointment to the Developer Place Special Business District.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. I move that we approve Mayor Spencer's appointment of Stephanie Brown, reappointment of Stephanie Brown to the Developer Place Special Business District.
It's been moved by the Alderwoman from the 10th, seconded by the Alderwoman from the 7th, that we approve Mayor Spencer's appointment to the Developer Place Special Business District. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
That is the extent of the report of city officials.
Does anyone wish to take any bills or resolutions off of any of our informal calendar? Alderwoman from the 11th.
Thank you, Madam President. I would like to place Board Bill 98 on the informal calendar.
Madam Clerk, if you could please place Board Bill 98 on the informal calendar.
So noted.
First reading of board bills.
We have none.
We can dispense with line item 12, reference to committee of board bills.
We have none.
Dispense with line item 13, second reading and report of standing committees.
The following board bills were reported out of the Legislation and Rules Committee with a due pass recommendation. Board Bill number 171, introduced by Alderwoman Sanye, President Green, Alderman Narayan, Alderwoman Velasquez, and Alderwoman Keys. An ordinance amending Section 2 of Ordinance 47423, approved March 2nd, 1955, relating to requisitions for supplies not under contract for the purpose of updating departmental minor purchase order thresholds and procurement procedures, and containing a severability clause and emergency clause. The following board bills were reported out of the Public Infrastructure and Utilities Committee with a due pass recommendation. Board Bill number 110, introduced by Alderwoman Tyus. The overall purpose for this bill is to conditionally vacate the following street: the northern 109.965 plus 035 feet of 20-foot wide north-south alley and the eastern approximately 219 feet of the 15-foot wide east-west alley in City Block 3708 as bounded by St. Louis Avenue, Newstead Avenue, Maffitt Avenue, and Taylor Avenue. Petitioned by Care St. Louis Health, or STL Health. The vacated areas will be used to consolidate property to provide parking for commercial development. Board Bill number 111, introduced by Alderwoman Tyus. The overall purpose for this bill is to conditionally vacate the following street: East Taylor Avenue from Broadway to Cato Avenue, petitioned by Hopkins Properties of St. Louis, LLC. The vacated areas will be used to consolidate property to provide parking for commercial development. Board Bill number 136, introduced by Alderman Aldrich, an ordinance recommended by the Board of Public Service to conditionally vacate the following street and portion of Elliott Avenue from St. Louis Avenue to Montgomery Avenue, Montgomery Street from Jefferson Avenue to Elliott Avenue, and the 20-foot wide east-west alley beginning at Elliott Avenue and extending eastwardly 259.99 feet to a point in City Block 2365 as bounded by St. Louis Avenue, Jefferson Avenue, Montgomery Street, and Elliott Avenue. Board Bill number 150, introduced by Alderwoman Clark Hubbard, pursuant to Ordinance number 70333, as amended by Ordinance number 71394, to calm the flow of traffic on the 6100 block of Washington Avenue. Board Bill number 159, introduced by Alderman Browning, an ordinance providing for the execution and delivery of a municipal stormwater grant participation agreement by and between the City of St. Louis and the Metropolitan St. Louis Sewer District, authorizing and directing the Director of the Streets Department and the Director of the Planning and Urban Design Agency to apply for the expend funds under such agreement for the purposes of a flood wall project and containing an emergency clause. Board Bill number 170, introduced by Alderman Narayan, an ordinance establishing a two-way stop site at the intersection of Forest and Glades Avenue, regulating all traffic traveling north and southbound on Forest Avenue at the intersection of Forest Avenue and Glades Avenue, containing an emergency clause. The following board bills were reported out of the Health and Human Services Committee with a due pass recommendation. Board Bill number 148, introduced by Alderwoman Boyd, Alderwoman Sanier, and Alderwoman Cox-Antwi. An ordinance recommended by the Board of Estimate and Apportionment appropriates to the Department of Health $1,363,875.78 in funds received by the City of St. Louis pursuant to the National Opioid Settlement Agreements, authorizing the expenditure of such funds to the extent received and contains an emergency clause. Board Bill number 156, introduced by Alderman Browning, an ordinance updating the Forestry Division's regulations for the planting, maintenance, preservation, and management of trees, shrubs, and plants in the City of St. Louis, containing definitions, administrative, regulatory, penalty, and severability. That is the extent of the second reading of the report of standing committees.
Report of special committees.
We have none.
Dispense with line item 15, board bills for perfection consent.
Board Bill number 131, introduced by Alderwoman Cox-Antwi, Alderwoman Clark Hubbard, Alderman Cone, Alderwoman Schweitzer, Alderwoman Keys, Alderwoman Sanier, Alderman Browning, and Alderman Aldrich. An ordinance provided for the execution and delivery of a First Amendment, substantially in the form attached hereto as Exhibit A by the Among the City of St. Louis Gateway Foundation, a non-for-profit trust organized under the laws of the state of Missouri, the foundation, and Terrace View, Inc., a Missouri corporation, Terrace View, amending the corporation agreement dated August 28, 2007, by and between the city and the foundation, the corporation agreement, and containing an emergency clause. Board Bill Number 132, introduced by Alderwoman Cox-Antwi and Alderman Browning, an ordinance recommended by the Board of Public Service, authorizing and directing the mayor and comptroller of the city of St. Louis to execute a quitclaim deed, vacating right-of-way and quitclaiming all the city of St. Louis interests in the property improvements and easements for the MacArthur Bridge approach in Illinois, dissolving the Municipal Bridge Commission and containing a severability clause. That is the extent of board bills for perfection consent.
Alderwoman from the 10th, you are recognized on the motion to adopt the board bills for the perfection consent calendar.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. I move that we adopt the board bills for perfection consent calendar.
It's been moved by the Alderwoman from the 10th, seconded by the Alderwoman from the 7th, that we adopt the board bills for the perfection consent calendar. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Board bills for perfection.
Board Bill Number 157, as amended, introduced by Alderwoman Clark Hubbard, President Green, Alderman Cone, Alderwoman Schweitzer, Alderwoman Keys, Alderwoman Sanier, Alderman Browning, and Alderman Aldrich. An ordinance recommended by the Board of Estimate and Apportionment appropriating $3,800,000 of interest funds earned on the city's funds received under the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, Pub L number 117-2, March 11, 2021, ARPA, and authorize the transfer of such funds for city's ability to provide services to prevent homelessness and displacement for households impacted by the tornado, containing an emergency and severability clause.
Alderwoman from the 10th, you're recognized on the perfection of Board Bill 157 as amended.
Madam President, members of the board, I believe I needed to, pursuant to Rule 55.
Different bill.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I move that we perfect Board Bill 157 as amended. I'm moving too fast.
It's been moved by the Alderwoman from the 10th, seconded by the Alderman from the 14th, that we perfect Board Bill 157 as amended. Alderwoman, you may proceed.
I renew my motion.
Any further discussion? Any further discussion? It's been moved by the Alderwoman from the 10th, seconded by the Aldermen from the 14th, that we perfect Board Bill 157 as amended. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Board Bill Number 160, introduced by Alderwoman Schweitzer, Alderman Browning, Alderman Cone, Alderwoman Clark Hubbard, Alderwoman Keys, Alderwoman Sanier, and Alderman Aldrich. An ordinance recommended by the Board of Estimate and Apportionment appropriating $1,200,000 of interest funds earned on the city's funds received under the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, and authorizing the transfer of such funds for water infrastructure repair and replacement project purposes and containing an emergency clause.
Alderwoman from the 1st, you are recognized on the perfection of Board Bill 160.
Thank you, Madam President and members of the board. I move to perfect Board Bill 160.
Second. It's been moved by the Alderwoman from the 1st, seconded by the Alderwoman from the 11th, that we perfect Board Bill 160. Alderwoman, you may proceed.
Thank you so much, Madam President. This bill is a crucial bill to move $1.2 million, as Clerk read, to water infrastructure and repair. The City of St. Louis Water Division has identified over $700 million of needs. So this is a small amount compared to the need, and I'm hoping to continue discussing the amounts of capital that can go towards the Water Division in future bills and in future legislation. But this is what is available now to the Water Division through ARPA interest if this body decides to move it forward. It does have the support of the mayor's office, and it moved through HUD's during committee. So I appreciate any support that it can get today, and welcome any discussion.
Alderwoman from the 12th.
Madam President, members of the board, my discussion is going to be short because when we received ARPA money back in 2021, let me see, that was that Alderwoman from that used to be the 20th and then became the 1st, and now it's the 12th, brought up our water infrastructure way back then. And we missed a golden opportunity to put a great deal of that ARPA money that we've kind of filtered away into something that was substantial that would have been for the whole city. We could have put half of that ARPA money into water, did a bond, and did something that was significant for the entire city. $1 million is like putting a patch on the flood wall in downtown. And I bring this up because the sponsor of the bill would not even talk about or say, yeah, the water needs to be done, but we have so many other things that need to be done. And now it is interesting to me that she brings this bill without acknowledging that we failed as a city to do what was proper, which is to do water. Nobody could have been upset about water. Water is not only is important to this entire city, it is also important that we sell our water to adjacent municipalities. And it's important that we have enough money to address this before we become a crisis. St. Louis has some of the best water there is. I'm just sad that we did not take the actions that we should have 3 years ago. And I've watched how this money has been spent. And in my opinion, it's not been spent in the best needs for the entire city. And so this 1 million I will be voting for, but I want to be acknowledged that we failed in our opportunity to address this holistically. And hopefully, if we ever get money like that again, we will not make that mistake, because we are going to have to fix our infrastructure and water. And putting these Band-Aids on it is not going to do it. As soon as we get something that fixed, 2 other spots jump up. So $1 million is not going to do it. Half of the ARPA money would have done it, 1/3 of it with bond issues and things. And we're going to have to look at a holistic solution to the water problem, city of St. Louis. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Madam Clerk, if you could please add me as a co-sponsor as well.
So noted.
Alderwoman from the 1st, you're recognized to close.
Thank you, Madam President and members of the board. I really appreciate those comments from Alderwoman from the 12th Ward. I agree that more money should have gone to the Water Division when original conversations were happening about the ARPA funds. It is something that I deeply regret and have been trying to make up for ever since. I think that this is why I've been advocating so hard for other funds from other sources to go towards water, why I have been advocating for just as much investment as possible and as creative ways of doing that as possible to put as little pressure on the ratepayers for water as possible. There is another bill in committee now that I urge everyone to attend and pay attention to hear that bill. Likely this coming Tuesday, we'll be talking about even more. And that is for more money for water of funds that weren't spent for whatever reason of American Rescue Plan Act funds. So this is certainly not the last time I'll be up here. It's not the first time I've been up here talking about water. And it is something that we have to just keep working on, chipping away at, and as long as we're all here. So I appreciate the Alderman from the 12th, and I hope to have her support in the future as we continue to fight for this incredibly valuable, non-negotiable city asset. So thank you, and with that, I renew my motion.
It's been moved by the Alderwoman from the 1st, seconded by the Alderwoman from the 11th, that we perfect Board Bill 160. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
That is the extent of board bills for perfection.
Report of engrossment.
Board bills number 115, floor sub, number 128 as amended, 147 as amended, 81, 135, 139, 140, 141, 142, 143, 144, 145, 146, 25 committee sub as amended in committee, 54 as amended, 90 that is the extent of report of engrossment.
Alderwoman from the 10th, you're recognized on the motion to reconsider Board Bill 150.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. Now is my turn. I move that we, having voted on the prevailing side, that we reconsider our vote for Board Bill 158.
Second.
It's been moved by the Alderwoman from the 10th, seconded by the Alderman from the 5th. Board Bill 158. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Schweitzer. Aye. Alderman Oldenburg. Alderman Cone.
Aye.
Alderman Narayan. Alderman Devoti.
Aye.
Alderwoman Velasquez. Aye. Alderwoman Sanye. Aye. Alderwoman Cox Antwi. Aye. Alderman Browning.
Aye.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard.
Aye.
Alderwoman Keys.
Aye.
Alderwoman Tyus.
Aye.
Alderwoman Boyd.
Aye.
Alderman Aldrich.
Aye.
President Green.
Aye.
Alderman Oldenburg.
Aye.
Alderman Narayan.
Aye.
15 aye votes.
By your vote, you sustain the motion from the Alderwoman from the 10th. Madam Clerk, if you could please place Board Bill 158 back on the regular perfection calendar, and we'll now take up Board Bill 150.
So noted.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. I just want to thank all of my colleagues as we continue to try to keep the wheels on this train rolling. I move that we perfect now Board Bill 158.
It's been moved by the Alderwoman from the 10th, seconded by the Alderwoman from the 7th, that we perfect Board Bill 158. Alderwoman, you may proceed.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. Is this the time when I asked for them to adopt the floor sub? Okay. I move that we adopt the floor sub that is on you all's desk and in the drive.
It's been moved by the Alderwoman from the 10th, seconded by the Alderwoman from the 7th. We adopt the floor substitute for Board Bill 158. Is there any discussion on the motion for the floor substitute? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Alderwoman, you are now recognized on the perfection of Board Bill 158 floor substitute.
Thank you. I continue to repeat my gratitude to you all. The only change to this floor sub is that we are
Alderwoman, you need to ask for perfection of the bill.
Thank you. I move that we now perfect Board Bill 158 floor sub.
It's been moved by the Alderwoman from the 10th, seconded by the Alderman from the 14th, that we perfect Board Bill 158 floor substitute. Alderwoman, you may now proceed.
Thank you so much. Just again, I can't say it enough, the gratitude I have for my colleagues down here, for SLDC and the City Councilor's office. And now, in addition to that, I said it last week, Mayor Spencer as well. The only change we are making to it this week is adding an emergency clause, which we all know that will allow the opportunity for Mayor Spencer to then sign Board Bill 158 floor sub immediately after our meeting next week. So thank you again to Mayor Spencer. Thank you to my colleagues. Thank you to SLDC, lawyers, staff, Otis, and our city clerk's office. Thank you, Mr. Garvin, for letting me come up and sit at your desk once again yesterday to confirm everything that I was doing was right, and what I believe we all had the intention of doing when we all voted for Board Bill 80 last year. And with that, again, I would ask for my colleagues' support to Bill 158 floor sub.
Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, it's been moved by the Alderwoman from the 10th, seconded by the Alderman from the 14th, that we perfect Board Bill 158 floor substitute. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Board Bill number 120, I'm sorry.
I'm going to pause just for 1 second while we get clarification on something.
I can't find it. Let me get yours. I can't find it.
It's fine.
Okay.
Madam Clerk, it has come to my attention that the floor substitute for 158 was not read into the record. And so if you could please read that before we proceed.
What's going on? An ordinance amending ordinance number 72051, which ordinance repeal ordinance number 69056 to repeal certain provisions of ordinance number 72051 and reestablish a clean energy development board to administer a property assessed clean energy program within the city of St. Louis.
With that, we will now return to report of engrossment. Report of engrossment.
Board Bill numbers 115, floor substitute, 128 as amended, 147 as amended, 81, 135, number 139, number 140, number 141, number 142, number 143, number 144, number 145, 146, 252, 25 committee substitute as amended in committee, 54 as amended, 98 floor substitute, 137 as amended. That is the extent of report of engrossment.
Alderwoman from the 12th.
I'm sorry, I'm waiting for third reading. I'm a little ahead of imperfection.
All right. Alderwoman from the 10th, you are recognized in the motion to adopt the third reading and final passage of board bills on the consent calendar.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. I move that we adopt the third reading and final passage of board bills on the consent calendar.
It's been moved by the Alderwoman from the 10th, seconded by the Alderman from the 14th, that we adopt the third reading, final passage of board bills on the consent calendar. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Madam President, this is where I wanted to come in.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Alderwoman from the 12th.
Thank you. I confused the issue because I thought I was ahead of you. I would like to have Board Bill 145 on the third reading calendar and removed from the consent calendar, please.
We just did consent.
Yeah, you did me the engrossment.
She needs to read the numbers. Reverse. Okay. All right. Sorry.
Okay, let me know. We just got to do the consent. That's all, because we never did. That's why I threw me off. I was like.
Okay, so we need to pull back the second and the motion, or the motion and the second that we just made. So if Alderman from the 14th could pull back your second, and
we're just going to say the number.
And Alderwoman from the 10th, you could claw back your motion. Okay. So with that, third reading and final passage of board bills consent.
Board Bill number 115, floor substitute. Board Bill 128 as amended. Board Bill 147 as amended. Board Bill number 81. Board Bill number 135. Board Bill number 139. Board Bill number 140. Board Bill number 141. Board Bill number 142. Board Bill number 143. Board Bill number 144. Board Bill number 145. And Board Bill number 146. That is the extent of third reading and final passage of board bills consent.
Okay. Alderwoman from the 12th, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. I request that 145, Board Bill number 145 be removed from the third reading and final passage consent calendar and put on the third reading calendar, please.
Madam Clerk, if you could please place Board Bill 145 on the regular third reading calendar.
So noted.
Right. Alderwoman from the 10th, you are recognized on the motion to adopt the third reading and final passage of board bills on the consent calendar.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. I move that we adopt the third reading, finally passage of board bills on the consent calendar.
It's been moved by the Alderwoman from the 10th, seconded by the Alderman from the 14th, that we third read and finally pass the board bills on the consent calendar. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Schweitzer.
Aye.
Alderman Oldenburg. Aye. Alderman Cone. Aye. Alderman Narayan.
Aye.
Alderman Devote.
Aye.
Alderwoman Velasquez.
Aye.
Alderwoman Sanye.
Aye.
Alderwoman Cox Antwi. Alderman Browning.
Aye.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard.
Aye.
Alderwoman Keys.
Aye.
Alderwoman Tyus.
Aye.
Alderman Boyd.
Aye.
Alderman Aldrich.
Aye.
President Green.
Aye.
15 aye votes.
By your vote, you sustain the motion from the Alderwoman from the 10th to third read and finally pass the aforementioned bills. Third reading and final passage of board bills.
Board Bill number 25, committee substitute as amended, introduced by Alderman Cone and President Green. An ordinance amending Title 18, Airports and Aviation Code of the Revised Code of the City of St. Louis to add a new chapter pertaining to car rental operations at St. Louis Lambert International Airport.
Alderman from the 3rd, you are recognized on the third reading and final passage of Board Bill 25, committee substitute as amended.
Thank you. Yes, I'm aware. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Madam President. I move for third reading and final passage of Board Bill 25, committee substitute as amended.
Second.
It's been moved by the Alderman from the 3rd, seconded by, I think that was the Alderman from the 2nd.
Second.
That we third read and finally pass Board Bill 25, committee substitute as amended. Alderman, you may proceed.
Thank you, Madam President. This is, as I mentioned in last week's meeting, a bill that passed out of the committee unanimously. This is the board bill that's pertaining to updating the ground transportation rules and regulations at the airport, specifically adopting rules pertaining to peer-to-peer ground transportation, and would ask for everyone's favorable consideration.
Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, it's been moved by the Alderman from the 3rd, seconded by the Alderman from the 2nd, that we third read and finally pass Board Bill 25, committee substitute as amended. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Schweitzer.
Aye.
Alderman Oldenburg.
Aye.
Alderman Cone.
Aye.
Alderman Narayan. Aye. Alderman Devote.
Aye.
Alderwoman Velasquez.
Aye.
Alderwoman Sanye.
Aye.
Alderwoman Cox Antwi. Alderman Browning.
Same.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard.
Aye.
Alderwoman Keys.
Aye.
Alderwoman Tyus.
Aye.
Alderwoman Boyd.
Aye.
Alderman Aldrich.
Aye.
President Green.
Aye.
14 aye votes, 1 abstain.
By your vote, you sustain the motion from the Alderman from the 3rd to third read and finally pass the aforementioned bill.
Board Bill number 54 as amended, introduced by Alderwoman Velasquez, President Green, Alderwoman Cox Antwi, Alderman Devote, Alderman Browning, and Alderman Aldrich. An ordinance submitting to the qualified voters of the city a proposed amendment to the Charter of the City of St. Louis, repealing Section 5 of Article 4 of the Charter in order to have the same nonpartisan top two runoff system in special elections for aldermen that is used in regular city elections, providing for an election to be held for voting on the proposed amendment and for the manner of voting, and for the publication, certification, deposit, and recording of this ordinance, and containing an emergency clause.
Alderwoman from the 6th, you are recognized on the third reading and final passage of Board Bill 54 as amended.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to move to third read and finally pass Board Bill 54 as amended.
Second.
It's been moved by the Alderwoman from the 6th, seconded by the Alderman from the 9th, that we third read and finally pass Board Bill 54 as amended. Alderwoman, you may proceed.
We had a very robust discussion on this bill last week and went through, I think, all the points about it. And with that, I'd like to renew my motion to third read and finally pass Board Bill 54 as amendment.
Is there any discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, it's been moved by the Alderwoman from the 6th, seconded by the Alderman from the 9th, that we third read and finally pass Board Bill 54 as amended. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Schweitzer. Alderman Oldenburg. Alderman Cone. Alderman Narayan.
No.
Alderman Devoti.
Aye.
Alderwoman Velasquez. Alderwoman Sanye. Alderwoman Cox Entry. Alderman Browning.
Aye.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard. Alderwoman Keys.
No.
Alderwoman Tyus.
No.
Alderwoman Boyd.
No.
Alderman Aldrich.
Aye.
President Green.
Aye.
Alderman Oldenburg.
Aye.
11 aye votes, 4 noes.
By your vote, you've sustained the motion from the Alderwoman from the 6th to third read and finally pass Board Bill 54 as amended.
Board Bill number 137 as amended, introduced by Alderman Devoti, President Green, Alderman Cone, Alderwoman Velasquez, Alderwoman Keys, Alderwoman Sanye, Alderman Aldrich, Alderwoman Clark Hubbard, and Alderwoman Schweitzer. An ordinance submitting to the qualified voters of the City of St. Louis the question of whether to amend the City of St. Louis Charter to modernize language describing city departments, divisions, and other organizations to provide for modern methods of advertisement and publication, to delete obsolete references to Missouri statute, to delete obsolete references to city departments, divisions, or other organization, to revise references to pay scale, to replace pronouns with specific title references, and to standardize capitalization of titles and uniform formatting of numbers, providing for an election to be held for voting on the proposed amendment with the manner of voting and the publication, certification, deposit, and recording of this ordinance, and containing an emergency clause.
Alderman from the 5th, you are recognized on the third read and finally passage of Board Bill 137 as amended.
Madam President, members of the board, I hereby move that third read and finally pass Board Bill 137 as amended.
It's been moved by the Alderman from the 5th, seconded by the Alderwoman from the 10th, that we third read and finally pass Board Bill 137 as amended. Alderman, you may proceed.
I renew my motion.
Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, it's been moved by the Alderman from the 5th, seconded by the Alderwoman from the 10th, that we third read and finally pass Board Bill 137 as amended. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Schweitzer. Aye. Alderman Oldenburg.
Aye.
Alderman Cone.
Aye.
Alderman Narayan.
Aye.
Alderman Devoti.
Aye.
Alderwoman Velasquez. Aye. Alderwoman Sanye. Alderwoman Cox Antwi. Alderman Browning. Aye. Alderwoman Clark Hubbard. Aye. Alderwoman Keys.
Aye.
Alderwoman Tyus.
Present.
Alderwoman Boyd.
Aye.
Alderman Aldrich.
Aye.
President Green.
Aye.
14 aye votes, 1 present.
By your vote, you sustain the motion from the Alderman from the 5th to third read and finally pass Board Bill 137 as amended.
That is the extent of third reading and final passage of board bills.
I believe that
We have 145, I'm
Alderwoman-
sorry.
Added one.
Board Bill number 145, introduced by Alderman Narayan, an ordinance repealing ordinance number 62579 and removing chapter 25.10 of the revised code of the City of St. Louis, codifying each ordinance.
Alderman from the 4th, you are recognized on the third reading and final passage of Board Bill 145.
Thank you, Madam President. Members of the board, I move that we third read and finally pass Board Bill 145.
Second. It's been moved by the Alderman from the 4th, seconded by the Alderman from the 11th, that we third read and finally pass Board Bill 145. Alderman, you may proceed.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. This is a board bill that was brought to me by the City Councilor's office. The history of it is basically in 1992, the Board of Aldermen codified mechanical code. Then in 2018, they updated the mechanical code but failed to repeal the previous mechanical code. So there have been two mechanical codes on our books. This simply repeals the one that it has not been in use. All of this was done before I got here, so I'm just carrying this for the City Councilor, basically. With that, happy to take any questions.
Alderwoman from the 12th.
Madam President, members of the board, if the Alderman from the 4th would yield.
The Alderman from the 4th yields to questioning from the Alderwoman from the 12th.
Absolutely.
Alderwoman, you may proceed.
Thank you. Thank you, Alderman. Unfortunately, it was not done before I got here. So I was a new alderperson then, and unlike all the new people we have that know everything, we didn't. So we did yield to our elders and people, senior people. So more than likely, I voted for this, unfortunately. So I'm much more fastidious about going over things now. So the question I was going to ask you is, why were we repealing it now? Didn't the board bill repeal it? But you've answered that question, which is that we passed a board bill without repealing the previous board bill.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
thereby the code was also in effect too.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. So we technically have had two mechanical codes since 2018. In 2019. No, 2018. Excuse me.
2018. Right.
So in practice, we've been using the 2018 mechanical code, but the 1992 mechanical code is still on the books. The City Councilor's office noticed this and approached me about actually repealing it, just to make sure that there was no question. It's just a redundancy.
And this goes to why I always say that we should not be amending codes, but ordinances, because if you amend codes, sometimes you don't get to what you just got to now. So I'm going to support it, but I just wanted to understand what happened, but that we're having to come back 20-something years later, 30 years, 30-something years later, something that should have been repealed. So bad legislation happens at all time. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Any further discussion? Alderman from the 4th, you're recognized to close.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. This, like I said, just a cleanup. Doesn't really change anything in practice, and I request your favorable consideration. With that, I renew my motion.
Been moved by the Alderman from the 4th, seconded by the Alderwoman from the 11th, that we third read and finally pass Board Bill 145. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Schweitzer. Aye. Alderman Oldenburg.
Aye.
Alderman Cone.
Aye.
Alderman Narayan.
Aye.
Alderman Devoti.
Aye.
Alderwoman Velasquez. Aye. Alderwoman Sanye. Aye. Alderwoman Cox Antwi. Aye. Alderman Browning. Aye. Alderwoman Clark Hubbard. Aye. Alderwoman Keys.
Aye.
Alderwoman Tyus.
Aye.
Alderwoman Boyd.
Aye.
Alderman Aldrich.
Aye.
Thank you. Alderman Aldrich.
Aye.
President Green.
Aye.
15 aye votes.
By your vote, you sustain the motion from the Alderman from the 4th to third read and finally pass Board Bill 145.
That is the extent of third reading and final passage of board bills.
Reported the finally passed and signed by the President.
Board Bill number 115, floor substitute. 128 as amended. 147 as amended. Number 81, number 135, 139, 140, 141, 142, 143, 144, 145, 146, 25 committee substitute as amended in committee, 54 as amended, 137 as amended.
All other business being suspended, the President shall in open session affix her signature hereto and that these may become law.
We all start laughing. Yeah. That's about. Jay.
I'm trying to figure that out right now.
First reading resolutions in reference to committees.
We have none.
We can dispense with line item 22. Second reading resolutions, committee reports and adoption.
Report from the Personnel and Administration Committee.
I would entertain a motion that portions of the meeting of the Board of Aldermen's Personnel and Administration Committee be closed to the public under provisions of 610.0213 in order to permit the members of the committee to discuss matters related to the hiring, firing, disciplining, or promoting of employees of the Board of Aldermen.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved by the Alderman from the 14th, seconded by the Alderman from the 3rd, that we enter closed session. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Schweitzer.
Aye.
Alderman Oldenburg. Alderman Cone.
Aye.
Alderman Narayan. Alderman Devoti.
Aye.
Alderwoman Velasquez. Alderwoman Sanye. Alderwoman Cox-Antwi. Alderman Browning. Alderwoman Clark Hubbard. Alderwoman Keys. Alderwoman Tyus.
Aye.
Alderwoman Boyd.
Aye.
Alderman Aldrich.
Aye.
President Green.
Aye.
15 aye votes.
STLTV, if you could please place us in closed session, and if everybody could please vacate the chambers, except for Tracy, if you could stay. And vacate the gallery as well.
Gallery's vacated.
And we are back. Second reading resolutions, committee reports and adoptions.
Report from Health and Human Development Committee, Mayor appointments to the Mental Health Board, Dr. Ivana Burkett and Ms. Andrea Blacklock.
Alderwoman from the 13th, you are recognized on Mayor Spencer's appointments to the Mental Health Board.
Thank you, Madam President and Board. I ask for your consideration to accept Dr. Volok and what was the other person's name?
Ivana Burkett.
Burkett. Yeah, Ivana Burkett to the to the board and accept them as candidates for the committee, Mental Health Board.
It's been moved by the Alderwoman from the 13th, seconded by the Alderwoman from the 7th, that we adopt Mayor Spencer's appointments to the Mental Health Board. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Resolution number 239, introduced by Alderwoman Clark Hubbard, adopting the Board of Adjustments rules and regulations.
Alderwoman from the 10th, you're recognized on the second reading resolution 239.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. I move that we approve the newly adopted rules and regulations for the Board of Adjustment.
It's been moved by the Alderwoman from the 10th, seconded by the Alderman from the 14th, that we adopt resolution 39. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
At the request of the sponsor, Resolution 245 as amended will be placed on the informal calendar. That's amending the Board of Aldermen rules, which was introduced by Alderman Odenberg, Alderman Narayan, Alderman Devote, Alderwoman Velasquez, and Alderwoman Keys. Resolution number 240, introduced by Alderwoman Schweitzer, Alderwoman Boyd, Alderwoman Sanye, and Alderwoman Cox-Antwi, supporting the efforts to recognize So resolution number 240, introduced by Alderwoman Schweitzer, Alderwoman Boyd, Alderwoman Sanye, Alderwoman Cox-Antwi, supporting the efforts to recognize the city of St. Louis as a bird city.
Alderwoman from the 1st, you're recognized on the second reading resolution 240.
Thank you, Madam President and members of the board. I move that we second read and finally pass resolution 240.
It's been moved by the Alderwoman from the 1st, seconded by the Alderwoman from the 7th, that we adopt resolution 240. Alderwoman, you may proceed.
Thank you so much. But first, before I realized that our new clerk Rogers was walking into the chambers, I thought everyone was applauding for birds. So, Clerk Rogers, you absolutely deserve every bit of that, and that's not what this resolution is about, but I just wanted to say that thank you so much for all that you do. We're all so proud and so happy for you. So, but back to birds. So, recognizing the city of St. Louis as a bird city, a lot of you asked me what this was about last week on the floor, or 2 weeks ago now when it was introduced. And we had a great committee hearing earlier this week, thanks to the Alderman from the 13th for allowing it to be heard and the support that came out of committee that day. But basically what this bill does in recognizing St. Louis as a bird city, it is another designation that our nonprofits in the city can use when applying for grants and for when they're to support their efforts of preservation and conservation. Some of the things we talked about in the committee hearing were all the benefits of having a healthy bird population in a city. Those things are, environmental benefits, health benefits to humans, the control of the pest population. Birds are very important in all of those things. So, it's something that I care about a lot. In my ward, we're doing a lot of efforts around in Carondelet Park, for example, to restore some bird habitat, to make it even better, to remove invasive plants that can be issues for the bird population as well. So I really appreciate you all taking the time to hear it, and I hope to earn your support today. So thank you.
Any further discussion, Alderman from the 9th?
Thank you. I'd just like to be added as a co-sponsor.
So noted.
Please make note of that. Alderman from the 4th?
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. After some fascinating conversations about birds with the alderman from the 9th and the alderwoman from the 1st, I also would like to be added as a co-sponsor.
So noted.
Alderwoman from the 11th.
Thank you. I, too, have an affinity for birds. In O'Fallon Park, we have the cranes that have been there for many years. And as a young mother, I took my children to the park on a regular basis, along with all the children from the neighborhood, to feed ducks bread, which I later found out is the worst thing you can do is feed ducks bread. Additionally, I have an affinity for feathers. And so I've dressed with various feathers on certain occasions. And so I would like to move that we embank. Thank you.
It's been moved by the Alderwoman from the 11th, seconded by the Alderwoman from the 7th, that we bank Resolution 240. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Alderwoman from the 8th.
Thank you, Madam President, and thank you to the Alderwoman of the 11th Ward for proposing that I was going to get up here and do the very same, because I truly appreciate the Alderwoman for bringing this to us. As a member of the Health and Human Development Committee, we had a great presentation from the St. Louis Audubon Society, who spoke about the importance of protecting birds in our city. And they also shared with us that if we pass this resolution today, we would actually be historic and potentially the first city to receive a dual designation, which would be really exciting for the city of St. Louis. So I just wanted to share that with my colleagues. We learned that in committee, and I think, again, this is really, really great opportunity that we have, and I appreciate the Alderwoman for bringing this to us.
Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Alderwoman from the 1st, you're recognized to close.
Thank you so much, Madam President, members of the board. I appreciate everyone's support and for making this in bank. And with that, I renew my motion.
It's been moved by the Alderwoman from the 1st, seconded by the Alderwoman from the 7th, that we adopt Resolution 240. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
That is the extent of second reading and resolutions and reports and adoption.
Miscellaneous and unfinished business.
We have none.
Announcements.
Tuesday, March 3rd, 2026, HUD's 11 a.m. in the Kennedy Room. Thursday, March 5th, 2026, Personnel and Administration, 11 a.m. webinar. And Friday, March 6th, 2026, full board meeting, 10 a.m. in the chambers.
Any further announcements? Alderman from the 3rd.
Thank you, Madam President. Oh, that's loud. Thank you, Madam President. I would like to announce a Transportation and Commerce Committee meeting for Tuesday at 9 a.m. to hear any and all bills currently assigned to the committee.
Madam Clerk, please make note of that. Alderman from the 9th.
Thank you. Similarly, I'd like to announce a Public Infrastructure and Utilities meeting on Wednesday, March 4th at 3:30 p.m. The agenda will include a presentation from our Water Division.
Any further announcements? Any further announcements? Seeing none, Alderwoman from the 10th, you are recognized on the motion to excuse.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. All members were present this morning.
Alderwoman from the 10th, you're recognized on the motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. I move that we adjourn until March 6, 2026 in the Board of Aldermen chambers at 10 a.m.
It's been moved by the Alderwoman from the 10th, seconded by the Alderwoman from the 7th, that we adjourn until Friday, March 6th in the Board of Aldermen chambers at 10 a.m. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned.
Yes. You want to come up, take a picture with Chief Clerk Rogers?
Everyone who wants to take a picture with Clerk Rogers,